Hello, Joy. How's this for a wartime miracle and a novel way of saying I love you?
Getting decent grub, but I miss the old fish and chips and a pint now and again, you know.
Ahead of VJ Day, we're going to open the archives to see these wartime messages sent by troops in Asia to their families back home. And we're talking now about those who are known as the forgotten army of the Second World War, the brave soldiers in the Far East who had no chance of coming home on leave.
To boost morale, the troops recorded and sent poignant messages to relatives back in Blighty who they might not have seen for many years.
And now, for the 80th anniversary of VJ Day this summer, archivists are trying to trace the families of those caught on film. Maybe you can help. Jane McCubbin reports.
4 decades ago, a batch of film canisters were discovered, long forgotten, in a basement corner.
Now that I'm here, I suppose I'll have to say a few words. The last time I spoke was 6 years ago, you remember?
Before we go any further, when you see this stuff behind us, don't think we're at Blackpool. We're not. Far from it.
The dust-covered reels held voices trapped in time.
Hello, Dorothy, Mother and Dad, all the folks at home. Hope you're keeping quite well and not worrying about me. I'm in the pink and still smiling.
The Calling Blighty films were messages from troops fighting in the Far East. They were sent to relatives who would watch at cinemas back home.
The archive holds 25 Calling Blighty films from the 391 that were made.
Gosh. I mean, you are so lucky to have these, aren't you?
We are indeed, yes. Almost all of them were found in a skip when they were doing some renovation work in Manchester Town Hall's basement, and somebody literally saved them from the skip.
Over 90,000 British troops were injured in the war against Japan. 30,000 never made it home. Far from Europe, mail could take months to arrive and supplies were scarce. Calling Blighty gave troops one rare chance to lift spirits in the chaos of war.
Hello, Mum and Dad. Yes, it is me.
These films were more than messages. They were lifelines.
Hello, Mum and Dad. I'm glad to have this opportunity to speak to you again.
They were known as the Forgotten Army. No ability to have leave and to return home, which was something that men fighting in the European front were able to get. No beer.
Getting decent grub, but I miss the old fish and chips and a pint now and again, you know.
Well, you know, that was a big thing for the troops. No beer, yeah.
So this morale boost, this mattered.
It clearly did matter, yeah.
When the films made it to cinemas, families gathered to hear their loved ones speak, sometimes for the very first time, sometimes for the very last time.
Hello, Nellie, darling. Glad to have this opportunity of speaking to you. Hope you're all right at home.
Hello, Mary. Hello, Michael.
They were incredibly emotional events.
And I'm only living for the day when I'll come back to you and our Michael.
Children seeing their fathers that they'd never met.
God bless you, love. God bless you both.
But also some tragic stories as well.
Hello, Mum, Dad. Everything's okay, are you?
Literally dead men talking.
Oh, cheerio. All the best.
This simple message was from Ernest Mason. The screening in a Manchester cinema was the last time his family ever saw him alive.
For some men in the films, they never came home. Their ghosts were talking on the screen.
But there was so much joy too.
Hello, Joy. How's this for a wartime miracle and a novel way of saying I love you?
Tell Sis to keep on dancing because she'll need all the lessons she can get for when I come home.
Only a fraction of the Calling Blighty films have been found and rescued from oblivion. And for the 80th anniversary of VJ Day, they would love to trace the families of anyone caught on film. And there is one story in particular they want to hear more about. This is Betty Hedge.
Hello, Mum, Dad and June. Well, I guess this is a surprise to you. Who knows, I may be giving you even a bigger surprise soon. Good one, too.
And no, she wasn't expecting.
That's what it sounds like.
But the story as we heard it was that she had got her ticket on the boat to go home, and she was sat in the cinema in Oldham watching herself on the screen.
Everybody, maybe seeing you soon. Cheerio, chins up.
Isn't that amazing?
It's a fantastic story.
But you just are desperate to find the family involved.
I would love to find that family, yeah.
One sentiment echoed countless times.
Hello, Mother. I hope everyone at home is fine.
Hello, Mum. Don't worry.
Hoping to see you soon. I'll miss your cooking, Mum.
Give my regards to all at home and keep smiling.
I don't think it'll be so very long now.
On August the 15th, 1945, victory in Japan was declared. The war was over. 8 decades on, the search for the families of these old soldiers goes on.
It's a real gradely place. A real gradely place for anybody to die in.
Jamie Cubbin, BBC News.
That little face.
That little face. And some of them were so young, weren't they?
They were so young.
So far from home.
They look like they should have been in school, not at war.
Absolutely. It's incredible, isn't it, to see that? If you've spotted what you think might be one of your relatives in those films, we would love to hear from you this morning. We're going to keep the details up there for you to get in touch in the usual ways. I would say particularly the email address, wouldn't you, would be good for people to use? bbcbreakfast@bbc.co.uk. We'll leave it there for a bit. You get in touch with us and then hopefully we can do some meeting up, showing those videos to families.
Reuniting of people. And as we heard there, this summer marks the 80th anniversary of VJ Day. We're joined now by Philippa Rawlinson, who is Director of Remembrance at the Royal British Legion Mourning. Those images, the film that we've just watched, it's just staggering to see those people who were so far from home. Some of them weren't going to make it home. How hopeful are you that you can try and put this jigsaw puzzle back together and maybe find some of their families?
Well, at the Royal British Legion, we called out at the start of the year for veterans of the war in Europe and for the war in the Far East to get in touch with us. And the nation came together to mark victory in Europe in May, and we know that the nation will come together again to mark the end of the Second World War on the 15th of August. And we're delighted to be talking to almost 40 veterans and their families, hoping to bring many of them together to mark that important moment that marks the end of the Second World War with the Royal British Legion in partnership with the government at a beautiful, poignant but uplifting event at the National Memorial Arboretum on the 15th of August.
And it's so important to remember VJ Day as part of this, isn't it? Which is something that some of the families connected with it feel gets a bit forgotten.
Absolutely, but we know that people will come together. They will mark that 2-minute silence at midday that starts the national event that we'll be holding at the National Memorial Arboretum, but it'll also be broadcast live. So people, veterans and their families, members of associations will be with us in Staffordshire at the foot of the Armed Forces Memorial. But people at home can join in the 2-minute silence, watch on BBC, or of course, if you still want to come to the Arboretum, do go online, book a place, because it's going to be really busy, but you'll be able to be there with us, watching on live screens, experiencing the amazing flypasts we will have, and of course, importantly, paying your respects at those memorials to the Far East campaigns.
For people who are watching who maybe don't know, how important was the role that these men and women played?
Well, the people that we've just been watching on the screens, they were, as you're right, they were so young at the time. Many of them were part of the 14th Army that fought the Japanese forces in those jungles that liberated Burma. And it was a really diverse contribution. You know, over 70% of those 1 million men came from the Indian Army. You know, pre-partition, that was India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, joined by forces from East and West Africa, from Britain and from Gurkha troops. A really diverse Commonwealth, cosmopolitan group that fought for victory and gave us the freedoms we enjoy today. So we should say thank you to them.
Those messages on film are staggering, aren't they? I wasn't aware that this was a thing, but they're being played in cinemas. I mean, I guess it took so long for the film to get back here that it was quite a process, quite a commitment. Oh,
absolutely. And, you know, knowing from talking to families, just knowing what's happened to their loved one. Can you imagine the excitement of seeing your son or even daughter? Let's hope they find that young woman. Now, some veterans haven't told their stories and are coming forward and sharing them with families and with us for the first time. We take that responsibility for taking their legacy on and sharing it with generations around us today, because we're all connected in some way and we should all come together to thank them.
So just explain to us how that worked. So obviously there was a film crew travelling around, getting these messages that were being sent home, and then the families at home would be informed that there was a message and they would have to go and wait and hope to see their dad or brother or...
I would imagine so. I mean, can it's communication today. You know, they weren't WhatsApping, were they? So actually, it must have been real hope. I mean, can you imagine going and finding out, it was completely by surprise, the whispers that would go around towns and communities as people came together to get those messages home from the front line. And I guess that's kind of what we're trying to do today, is get those messages out and shared, and that excitement as we come together to thank our veterans.
Laura Johnson, watching right now. Good morning, Laura. I'm looking at the emails coming in. She says she just watched that segment. She thinks her granddad, Joseph, was in some of the footage. They saw some of the film a few years back, and she'd love to get in touch. And I guess that's the thing. It's the next generation, or the next generations who are potentially going to get reconnected through all this.
Absolutely. And, you know, at our events, we have I know some of the veterans are coming. It's school holidays, so we've said, bring your families. We've got 4 generations, a veteran and his great-great-grandchild. You know, that's going to be some sight to have them there connecting and watching together. Those family connections that we can make are so tight.
You have vast experience of these commemorations now. What have you learned ahead of the summer? What do you hope for this commemoration?
I just hope that we stop and listen and learn from those voices. There's too much happening in the world at the moment, and we could benefit from their lessons, their hindsight and their hope for coming together, uniting in remembering those that have fallen, but also hoping for a peaceful future.
And that's a timely message, isn't it?
Very timely message, sadly.
For all of us. Well, what are you doing in terms of particularly younger people in schools, the communities that maybe are not connected, families who aren't necessarily connected? How do you reach out to them and teach them about this?
So, in partnership with the government for the whole of this year, the Royal British Legion have been working on schools programmes. And our I'll Remember programme designed for school children, involving school children, has reached over 900,000. Almost 1 million school children have been involved with the programme, listening and finding out. And that follows the same sort of theme. Find out about your connection, bring your community together and remember in the way that's right for you. And that's a really exciting project because, yes, reaching out to schools, and maybe that will spark the interest in a family where people learn about their ancestors and their part in fighting for our freedoms that they didn't know before.
Philippa Rawlinson, it is great to talk to you. And isn't it amazing that already we're getting people who are in touch just after showing that film that was just a couple of minutes long?
Yeah, Juliet, Rolf, Dave, Jessica, Vicky, all getting in touch, thinking they might have recognised somebody. We would love to hear from you if you think your relatives might be in that footage. Email us bbcbreakfast@bbc.co.uk and we will try to do some connections and bring families today in with them. God, just more coming in.
And if anyone has got any veterans of the war in the Far East or Pacific that hasn't already got in touch, can they get in touch with the Royal British Legion and we'll make sure that they're with us, if at all possible, to mark the event at the National Memorial Arboretum. Let's all bring families together.
We'll be doing that fully here on Breakfast over the next few weeks
Absolutely.
and months. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.